Thank you for taking the opportunity to view the superintendent's video explaining the budget process for 25-26 as we build our future together. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the members of our Board of Education for their participation in the budget process. President Michael McFarland, Vice President Eddie A. Sloshower, Trustee Virgil Capillari, Trustee Cheryl Miggets, Trustee Marie Johnson, Trustee John S. Morgan, Trustee Peggy Kelland, Trustee Keith Odoms, and Trustee John C. Lumia. Members of the District Office Senior Staff, Administration, Assistant Superintendent for Administration and Information Systems, Mr. Darren Lolkema, Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction, Dr. Michelle Cardwell, Assistant Superintendent of Finance and Business Development, Ms. Kristen Dainty, Assistant Superintendent of Student Support Services, Mr. Richard Zipp, our Executive Director of Human Resources, Ms. Renee Harris, our Executive Director of Special Education, Ms. Julia Montoya, our Director of Facilities, Mr. Ronald Brois, and our District Clerk and Secretary to the Superintendent, Ms. Alberta Pedro. So the budget process, long and steady process, and the budget process begins in the middle of October. This occurred obviously when the Board of Education approved the budget calendar at the last Board of Education meeting, and ends in May when the annual budget is brought to the voters. Long and steady process that involves district administration, the Board of Education, as well as the Wappingers Central School District community. The calendar, what does it look like? Well, as we mentioned, official work began on the 25-26 calendar on October the 15th, when it was approved by the Board of Education. The approved calendar can be found on the district's website. It includes submission dates for information from building and district level administrators and departments, any presentations that are provided to the Board of Education in our community, work sessions with the Board of Education, as well as the New York State mandated budget hearing and meeting dates. Information gathered would include preliminary equipment requests, new staffing, and curriculum proposals. Also included are important dates for Board of Education candidates, voter information dates, and mandated approvals for submission to New York State related to the budget. This budget is comprised to meet the needs of all of our students and reflect the goals and objectives of the Wappingers Central School District. The Wappingers Central School District budget provides our students, as I mentioned, educational needs and maintains compliance with New York State. It outlines the annual spending plan for the district, and it is an aggregate view of all of the financial numbers that drive the district's operations for the following year. And as mentioned, it's created in alignment with the goals of the Board of Education. The budget process is completed through building and department levels. Building level and department budgets have been developed independently and they are reviewed as such. We now involve an enrollment-based approach, which dollar amounts are allotted based on grade level. It applies an equal standard for each and every Wappingers Central School District student, and the enrollment-based funding to each school from the general fund balance. Enrollments are updated annually, so are budget allotments based on the current environment as well as projected economic forecasts. Expenses, components of a school budget, benefits, transportation, instruction, and general support. New York State budget versus New York State expense reporting. When we take a look at the reporting format for school expenses, we have benefits, transportation, instruction, and general support, as I just indicated. New York State reporting for school budgets, there is an administrative component, a capital component, and a program component. Revenue components of the school budget: state aid, federal aid, property taxes, and other miscellaneous items. What does a budget allow the Wappingers Central School District to provide? Many things as indicated in this slide. Building and district level administrators submit requests for staffing, supplies, materials, equipment, new curriculum proposals, and in-service. These are the manner in which we put a budget together. We use estimates for costs that have yet to be finalized. This will include health insurance, retirement systems, energy costs, district health insurance rates, which are not finalized until March. An estimate is used for November through March for discussion purposes. Once finalized, the budget is updated accordingly. The administration uses estimates for revenues that have yet to be finalized. New York State aid is an example of this. The governor's proposed New York State budget is normally released in January, so an estimate is used from November through January. An update is done in January as applicable to reflect any changes. April 1st is the deadline for the New York State budget. If it's passed into law, the district's New York State aid amount will be finalized. I can't stress enough the importance of your feedback or any questions that you have. Please know that the development of this budget is an interactive process that includes our community, our staff, and the Board of Education. We will be having forums to gather data and opportunities for feedback, and you also have an opportunity, as well as the Board of Education does, to ask questions at our Board of Education meetings. So, how do we communicate how we build this 25-26 budget? We do it through various video presentations as well as presentations to the Board of Education. We again welcome the opportunity for your feedback or any questions that you have. We do the superintendent's video, which is presented twice a year. We have public comment at our Board of Education meetings and public hearings. We ask you to email us with any questions, concerns, comments, recommendations, budget@wcsdny.org. And in the spring of 25, we will be having community forums at each of our high schools, as well as an updated 25-26 budget page on our district website. Learning the budget language, a lot of terms, some of them you may not be familiar with. We understand that the document financial terms and acronyms that we use may not reflect the everyday language that everyone else uses. So if you want a better understanding of those terms, acronyms, and more, we've developed a list of frequently used financial and budget terms to bridge the gap and have a more fluent conversation with both the Board of Education and the Wappingers Central School District community. This can be found on our website, which is wappingerschools.org. Prior year budget information is also available on our website, so if you would like to compare and contrast the budget from years to years, you certainly are able to do so. The next virtual event will be the superintendent's video explaining the budget process, which will be presented on February the 24th in both English and Spanish. And as I mentioned before, if you're interested in learning more about the budget process, please take the opportunity to view various videos and information that we send out to our community. Budget presentations for 25-26. This is the explaining the budget process. Preliminary budget presentation will be on February the 10th. February 24th will be the superintendent's video explaining the budget process too. That will be done both in English and Spanish. March the 10th, superintendent's recommended budget presentation 1, also transportation proposition presentation. April the 7th, superintendent's recommended budget presentation 2, state aid update presentation. 22nd of April, superintendent's recommended budget presentation, ballot presentation, budget adoption. May the 5th, ballot presentation to the community. That will be at John Jay High School. May 12th, community forum, state mandated public hearing on the budget at Roy C. Ketchum High School. And the budget vote is May 20th of 2025. And with that, I would like to thank you once again for taking the opportunity to view this video explaining the budget process as we continue to build our future together as a school district. Thank you.